All right, cool. Um, I forgot our professor's name. Is it Brother Brown? Yeah. Hi, Brother Brown.
Hello, Brother Brown,
Um, I'm Adam.
and I am Jackson Hill.
All right. So our case study on Dr. John's products. All right. So the first question that we're supposed to talk about. So it says, what do you think of Osher's process for identifying opportunities in building companies? Um, well, what I thought was, I mean, he's obviously a really smart guy. Like ever since he was a little kid, he was, trying to be an entrepreneur and starting up companies and having ideas for brands and stuff like that. Um, I don't know his process. I think he was really good at like finding, I guess, an opening in the market. So especially with like the spin pop that like the lollipops that he made and the toothbrush, he like recognized like what was missing in the market, and then he kind of like made his product to fit that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think mostly it just because he started at such a young age, he was able to really, I guess, have that entrepreneurial mindset, and he was able to just really look at the market and see where things were not, I guess, the customer needs, and that's where he was able to come in and, I guess, reap the benefits.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting how like I don't know, he kind of just like goes from one thing to another because he doesn't like because with the spin pop he made like a higher cost lollipop, which was like
Right,
way more expensive than all the other ones, but he still like killed it. And
right.
then with the toothbrush, he made like the lowest cost electric toothbrush, which is first of its kind, and then did it really good. So like he's not just like doing one thing; he's like trying everything. You know what I mean?
Right, and with that, it kind of shows, I guess, the entrepreneurial side of him, where he's able to take something, because there's a saying where you don't need to fix something unless it's broken, but he doesn't think that way, and he looks at, I guess, for example, the lollipop, and he says, well, how can we make it better? So
Yeah,
that's where he does really well.
yeah, exactly. Cool. So number two, who is John Osher? How does he come up with ideas? So let's see. So he's from New England, isn't he? Somewhere around there.
I think so, yeah.
Let's see. I need to open up my other browser. Right. Okay.
Who is John Osher?
Um, okay. So it looks like he grew up in Cincinnati or something like that, and then he went to college in Boston. So yeah, so as a little kid, he made earrings and stuff, and then when he was in college, he started that antique clothing business.
Right, yeah. He went to Boston University and then did that, did the clothing store, and then from there he started working with toys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He also did the shower head that conserves water
Right,
before the toys or the toy store stuff. So
that's right.
all that, and then I think so. It says that he graduated with a degree in psychology, so that probably had a lot to do with his like
Yeah,
entrepreneuring too.
that's actually really interesting. Like how many, because I guess in kind of the world today, most people, especially Mormons, everyone kind of wants to be an entrepreneur and have their own business, and so
Yeah.
they go into business and they get a business degree. But this is a classic or not a classic case, but kind of a different approach where he got his degree in psychology and was an entrepreneur, which is so strange because you think like psychology, but
I mean, it's just as useful, I imagine. If you know how to understand people, then you know how to generate business.
Yeah.
Because you know what people want, and you know what their needs are and what they'll pay money for. Then you can obviously know how to do business better.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've never thought of it like that.
I mean, especially like with sales and stuff like that too, is like the same. Like psychology has a huge contribution in it.
Yeah, I mean that's why there's the book Psychology of Selling.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So how does he come up with ideas? I mean, I think we kind of already talked about it.
Yeah. Just
I think he comes up with ideas kind of from his well, I don't know how he came up for the idea for like his first couple business and stuff like that, but probably just from his past experiences and seeing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what we were saying is just like before is he just kind of saw what would or how could we make it better rather than we have to fix it to make it better.
Yeah, I think his idea from the spin brush, I think, was from the manufacturers of the spin pop. So that factory in China that makes the spin pops, like
right.
He probably was like, oh, these guys are like a pretty high quality like factory, but still super cheap since it's in China, and they could probably make me an electric toothbrush that's way cheaper than anything else out there,
right?
And sell it for like $6.
Yeah, So like, he wasn't necessarily an inventor. He didn't invent the spinning mechanisms of it. He just basically the technology was there, and he just put it together.
Yeah, and then just like got the patent for it. So
yeah, and I think with any entrepreneur, it's not necessarily like not necessarily like coming up with ideas. Rather, it's like taking ideas from others and like putting it into a newly formed idea. Because like the sucker, it's already been there and it's already been around. But so it's not like an original idea. It's just taking the spin brush and putting that with the sucker, or vice versa,
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think the reason he succeeded is because most people look at a market like toothbrushes. There's so many big companies like like they're saying Gillette, Colgate, Procter and Gamble, so like Crest and stuff like that. They're like, right. And what can you do with the toothbrush to make like all the other big businesses, like there's just not enough room. But he just saw that gap where like, oh, all the electric toothbrushes are so expensive. If I could make one cheaper, I could take a lot of business. Yeah. So that's where he was different than most people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, he probably had the money to do that because of all the other businesses he started. So
yeah, no kidding.
I mean, yeah, cool. Do you know, do we have to like make a timestamp or just like look at the time on here and then?
I honestly don't even know. I've never used Google Hangouts on air.
So it says provide a timestamp in addition to your link.
Well, it's 5:58 p.m.
But I don't
Mountain Standard Time.
Yeah. I don't think that's gonna help him though. Because I don't see like it's not timing our recording.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. And I can't do too much on an iPad when it comes to that.
Yeah. Hmm.
Let me see. Timestamp.
Oh, what we can do? I know what we can do. So once we're done with this, we can just look back at it because it'll be on YouTube,
Oh, got it.
and then I'll see like what. Yeah, I'll look at it and see what the when we did the summary, and I'll do that.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. So number 3. So is SpinBrush a good idea? How does John evaluate opportunities? Yeah, I think it's a pretty good idea.
Well, yeah, obviously it's a great
Obviously.
idea if it's a $1 million business. Um,
Yeah.
I think the reason. Wait, what was the second part of the question? It was.
How does John evaluate opportunities?
Yeah, I think he evaluates opportunities just like any other entrepreneur, and that is through seeing a seeing the need of
Yeah.
consumers. There's because that's what entrepreneurs do is they look for questions. Whether it's how do we get from point A to point B at whether it's through a more luxurious way or a faster way. There's always a question to be answered, and so I think that's where he went from there. Is he was answering a question that the consumers wanted, and also I think he looked at it as an untapped business model or an untapped market where there wasn't really anything else out there like it. If we look at today, I actually work at Vivint Solar, and 5 years ago there was hardly any solar companies, and now there's hundreds of solar companies, and it's like residential solar. It's just like there's so much of the market that's untapped. It's like 1% of houses have solar in the entire U.S., and so I think he did the same thing where he saw the opportunity and he just took it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with all that you said. Just, I mean, I don't know how exactly he came up with the idea to do a toothbrush, but I mean,
yeah, it's kind
he
of interesting.
he obviously must have heard people talk about it, like, oh, like, do you have an electric toothbrush? Like, yeah, I do, because it says in there only 15% of Americans use an electric toothbrush.
Right.
And so,
So it wasn't.
He probably just heard from family and friends like, oh, like I would buy one, but they're like $50, so
Yeah,
it's not
they're
worth
like
it.
50, $80, like super expensive.
And then from his experience with the spin pop, he was like, well, I bet I could make one for way less than $50. Like I could make it for like under $10.
Right.
And then he was like, probably just thought about that, and he was like, well, I bet all my family and friends would buy an electric toothbrush if it was under $10. And so,
Right.
Yeah, so just like listening to people's needs, like you said, and even just family and friends, like you can just kind of evaluate the market because everyone's in the market for a toothbrush. You know what I mean?
Right. I guess it's one of those things where it becomes not necessarily like a necessity, but more so like, it's like, Apple products where it's like, do you really need an iPhone? No, but do you need an iPhone? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like a
sure.
necessity, but it's like, I do kind of need one just cause.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I think there's he saw a big opportunity as well because like toothbrush market, which is like not super big, but he could make it way bigger because of like all the manual toothbrush owners would like switch over to an electric toothbrush, and he would so I guess making the electric toothbrush market like he was only in the, what is it called, the IRI or whatever.
Yeah.
And they showed up on there, I guess. So they did like 2% of the sales for 1999, and that was only in the last quarter of the year. So in like 3 months,
It was, yeah.
They did like 2% of sales in 3 months for the whole year of
Right.
electric toothbrushes. So, um, oh, so so like the different types of case study, what did you decide it was?
Um, I didn't get to that part quite yet.
Okay. Because I, I don't know, it was kind of confusing. I thought it was a decision or an evaluation, but
Right.
I put decision because it was basically giving us three choices of like, do you think he should partner with Crest, or do you think he
Oh
should,
yeah.
or do you think he should sell the company, or do you think he should partner with a different business?
Um, well, I think it's not necessarily like a question where you can just answer, like, because I think any way he would take the business, it could be good. I think it just kind of depends on where you would want to go with the direction of the company. So whether that's like he wants to just continue to expand it himself, like, you know, or he's to the point where he wants to start a new adventure, he would be able to just sell it off and start something new. Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs do that, but
Yeah.
there's also other entrepreneurs where they start something and that's their dream. That's what they want to do. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
Qualtrics did actually. Do you know do you know about Qualtrics?
Qualtrics. Is that like do people take surveys on there?
Yeah. So it was like
Yeah.
graduates from BYU, they started Qualtrics and it got super big and someone wanted to buy it for some $1 billion. I forget the number, and they said they rejected them. They're like, no, we're good. And they basically had two reasons of doing so. First, because they knew the potential of the business and it's going to be worth a lot more than that down the road. And
Mm.
also it was like their life, that it was their passion. So I think, you know, whether it's his passion or not, and whether or not he thinks it's worth more than it is down the road, I mean, it just kind of
Yeah.
depends.
And I think it kind of depends on like a lot of entrepreneurs, like once they realize that their business is worth like a large amount of money, like, I mean, if they need money, then like they'll want to sell it, you know what I mean? Unless they're super passionate about it, like Qualtrics. Yeah. But
You know,
I mean, and a lot of times they're not certain of how much it's going to be worth like in a couple of years from now. So they just want to take that high price.
yeah, I think, yeah, because I mean, when you do start a business and people like it has enough value to where people want to buy it, you know that that your business is a threat to other businesses, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Let's see. So we did number 3. So number 4, why haven't larger companies already done a spin brush? I think they probably, I don't know. They probably haven't realized that, like, first off, that they could make something that cheap for an electric toothbrush.
Yeah,
So they didn't have the opportunity.
yeah, I think that here, hold on. So I think partially it's because you just have to look at the cost that's associated with it, and I guess the opportunity cost really is,
Yeah.
because I mean it could be a profitable business, but I think you have to look at the opportunity cost of starting it and whether or not, if doing an electric toothbrush is worth it, rather if we go into a technology sector and do something different, like, and that could be potentially more
Yeah.
profitable. So I think
I
that's one
think,
reason.
yeah,
It's
I
just
think that companies like Gillette, so the Oral-B and Braun electric
right.
toothbrushes, like they're kind of like the way they're thinking is like they appeal more to the upper middle class.
Yeah.
So obviously, like they can get a way better margin selling their electric toothbrushes for like $50 because they know that someone in the upper class will buy it, you know?
Right.
So I don't know.
It's actually really interesting because right now there's I mean, you brought up Gillette. There's Gillette with like the razors, and I mean, just within the past year or so is when the Dollar Shave, or I guess 2 years,
Oh
the
yeah,
Dollar Shave
Dollar
Club
Shave
came
Club.
in, and
Yeah,
that took a huge chunk of customers from Gillette because those things are expensive,
yeah,
and since then, um, they since Dollar Shave Club started, there's been so many different small shave clubs or new razor types
yeah.
where they're eliminating the middleman, and they're just selling directly to the consumer. And so it's interesting how I guess there isn't that same
Yeah,
idea or mindset with the electric toothbrush.
that's
Probably,
funny.
honestly,
That's
thinking
funny.
about it, it's probably just the demand isn't there for it.
On the radio the other day of like this other razor company who said in their advertisement on the radio, they said that they're like, we'll send you like our razor for free to try and then they were like, how do you think we can afford that? And then they were like, oh, we'll tell you why, because we own the factory where we make the razors, so we don't so like they don't have a middleman. They don't like buy
Right.
their razors from anyone. They make them themselves. So I mean that's probably makes people want to buy them even more.
You know, so I guess the conclusion of that is probably the companies don't, or there haven't been a lot of companies that do electric toothbrushes because of the opportunity cost of doing so, and also there isn't high enough demand to do so.
Yeah. And I think that Gillette and stuff, they use like higher costs of technology too, because if you look at the spin brush, like I mean, it's a pretty simple like I don't know, like the setup of it.
Right.
I think I remember seeing those in the grocery store when I was a kid, because those try me buttons.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I mean, the way it spins, it just like goes. The head just goes like, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, those other like those like the what's it called, Sonic Air.
Yeah.
Those vibrate so fast.
I
They
know.
must be way more expensive to make. So
Yeah. It's true.
yeah, I mean, they probably should have made a spin brush or a cheaper electric toothbrush. They just didn't have the idea or didn't think it was worth it.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so number 5, how much is spin brush worth? How would you place a value on a company? Let's see. So how much it's worth? So they sell 6,000 units a day. Let's see. If you look at exhibit 4, that shows, are you on the, do you have the case study pulled up?
I can pull it up. It'll take me out of.
Oh, no, it's fine. I have it right here.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Um, I don't know. That's hard to say. So the retail for the electronic toothbrush market is 230 million.
Is that you? Is that dollar
What?
amount or is that
Retail's sales? Yeah, dollars.
okay? That's sales.
Yeah. So volume sales. So the SKUs is 34.5 million sold.
Well, I think to answer the question is how you evaluate, I guess, like a company or how much it's worth is how much it's selling compared, revenue minus costs.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say because you don't know how many. Because like the next year, I think the market's gonna grow like a ton because the manual toothbrush owners are probably a ton of them are probably gonna buy the spin brush, which is gonna make the market for electric toothbrushes way bigger. So I mean, it's hard to say, but
I mean, I would look at it as, I guess, you would evaluate a company's worth by their market share.
Yeah. So 2% times 230.8 million. Oh, shoot. Times 0.02. So their market share in dollars in retail is 4.6 million.
Yeah. So that's probably where I would put it at.
Yeah. But I mean, they could sell it for way, way more than that.
Yeah. Because of the potential growth of the market. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's probably worth maybe over 10 million or something like that. But, so, yeah, I'm not sure. So number 6, what should John do? I think he should keep the business. In my hypothesis for the case study, I said that he should partner with Crest because they don't have an electronic toothbrush, and then with their brand recognition, with like the toothpaste that they make and the toothbrushes, like they could sell a ton. But
no, yeah, absolutely, because it's like basically combining. Like it's like peanut butter and jelly. There's no need to go off and start a whole new process or product if someone already has done that. And that's the case here.
Exactly.
They've done the toothbrush, but you need toothpaste to go with the toothbrush. Otherwise it's useless. So I think combining
Crest has like a 26 or almost 30% of the market for toothpaste. So everyone, it's a household name. So
and so that's what I would say as well.
All right, sweet. Number 7, so how do you analyze a case? So it said to think about it more than reading it. Read like the first and last paragraphs, think about it a lot, and then go back and like kind of read over the numbers.
So are you saying we have to go and read that and then come back, or?
No, I'm just saying, like, when you read that, did you read that paper from like Harvard about how to analyze cases?
Yeah, let me pull up the notes I have for it. Because there was like 7 steps in analyzing a case.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Where is it? So like analyzing a case is, there's like the analysis, position, evidence, and then mechanics. And you want to read the case question and get a broad overview of everything. and then read the case carefully from a protagonist's view so that you can really, I guess, understand what's the best direction to take it. And then number 3 is read exhibits in the back of the case. And 4, calculate break-even analysis. 5, collaborate with others. And 6, develop a persuasion strategy to convince others you're right. And that was one of the main focuses, is developing a persuasion strategy, because you could be right, but if you don't persuade others that you are right, then what good is being right? So.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah, cool. I totally forgot all those steps, but yeah. Let's see. So last one says, so what question did you learn to ask as an entrepreneur? So I think what I learned, like what question I learned to ask is probably like what do people need? Like not so much like what can I do that's like new or what hasn't been done before, but like how can I take a product that's already been made and make it better and make people want to buy it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So just like what we were talking about in the beginning.
Yeah. I think, I mean, the question that I learned to ask is, I guess what could be done better? I mean, you know, it's always about improvement, and it's not necessarily about making something brand new, because most of the time everything has been created, because an entrepreneur is different from an inventor, right? Entrepreneurs don't necessarily invent things. They create things that are, or form together things that are already invented. So I would say, how can you make an invention better?
Yeah. And I mean, being an entrepreneur is just as important, you know, as inventing something new, because, you know, the people that make something for the first time, like usually it's not, you know,
yeah,
it needs to be improved. It's not good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Think of the wheel, you know, the wheel was invented, but without an entrepreneur, say for example, Ford, and taking the wheel and putting it into a car, you know, it's like, that's kind of the whole circle pretty right there. Much,
yeah, more or less useless if you don't improve it.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, cool. So should we do our summary then?
Yeah.
So we kind of like give a vote of what we think Dr. John's products should do, and then we just give our final decision and thoughts on it.
Okay.
All right, so I think that Dr. John's products should continue with the spin brush and partner with Crest, Procter & Gamble or Crest, to license it to be sold together, so capture more of each part. So the toothbrush manually and the electronic toothbrush. And I think they would do really well and expand their business to way bigger than it is.
Yeah. And in addition, this just came to me, is as they combine with Crest, they will take on new customers from Crest that don't even know about spin brushes, that'll be intrigued by it and want it. And so it'll be a cross-selling between Crest and the spin brush. And just like you said, being sold together, it'll just increase both of the market share of both companies by that much more.
And I mean, kids too. Like any kid that can push that button on the packaging, the try me button. I mean, it'll sell like crazy just because they can push that button and it looks way cooler than any normal toothbrush. So,
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think you should sell it, and I think you should definitely do that. But, all right, cool. Well, I think it's almost time for you to watch the Packers game.
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, I'm glad we could figure out all this Google Hangout stuff.
Yeah, me too.
All right. I think only one of us has to post it, so I can do that.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's see. Well, let's see. I think so. I'm not positive if we both post or just one of us. But
I think it just said one of us needs to post it.
all right. Well, I'll make sure that I put your name down or whatever has to be done for that.
Okay, sweet.
All right. Cool. Well, thanks, Jackson. I think do you just want to be partners for next week too?
Yep, we'll just do this. Make it easy.
After this, we're going to do like our official groups.
Okay, sounds good.
Nice to meet you, man.
Okay, you too. Talk to you later. Bye.